Opposites Attract podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How is your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going.
Woo!
And we're back.
We are back. I got my puppy. Look,
got
we
your
have
puppy this time.
Look at her ears.
It
Look at my hair.
You guys look the same. It is 10 minutes after we recorded the last one.
She's so cute.
Like we were saying, make sure you go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Share it with people that you know. Share a
All
clip,
that good stuff.
all that stuff.
Yes.
Support us by clicking on the support the show tab. Best thing you could do is comment, like, subscribe, share it, tell them to do the same.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah. So we were talking about on the last podcast about our car, and we were kind of getting into all that stuff, and just like the peace that comes with doing things the right way, saving your money, not borrowing money. I think, as much as I talk about like not having belief in all these things, the Bible does have a lot of lessons. And I tell you that a lot of these things that are in there, you would learn from human nature eventually. Like these are lessons that we would pick up. But in there, it does say like the borrower is slave to the lender, I think. Right?
I'd be
dropping Bible verses more than church people. But,
right.
No,
for sure.
But the thing is that there's a reason why it's in there, right?
Right.
Because it's true. Like people have figured some of this stuff out.
Right. Yeah.
And what?
Yeah.
What's up?
I was just saying, like debt back then.
It was the same.
It does.
Like some things are universally true, and that is true.
Taxes.
Like if you borrow from other people, they got you in their pocket. Go to prison and find out how that works.
Jeez.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many cupcakes are you worth or whatever? I don't fucking know.
Cupcakes.
But so we were talking about like how it does bring peace, like we just purchased this vehicle, like, yeah, the value of it, talking to our kids about value. And yeah, it's got 250,000 miles on it, literally. Mm-hmm. It's 20 years old, literally. Mm-hmm. But what value do you place on it? Like, I find that the money my hard-earned money that we talked about last time I got a good value for it. This guy took excellent care of the car. And a way that we were able to do these things is by having cash available. One of the most suffocating things in life is when you owe somebody else money. And especially money for things that aren't worth shit.
Right.
Like credit cards, like cars.
Mm-hmm.
I value this car, but I understand it doesn't make me money.
Right.
It is going to provide incredible experiences, but at the end of the day, it was a liability spending the money that we have, right? It's definitely worth it. But the way that we were able to have the money in the end was by starting by getting out of debt.
Right.
And we talked about it a lot in the past, but
It's
the way that we did it and the way that kind of made sense for us, and like my beliefs, they kind of come in from all different angles, from all different things, and I kind of make my own mind up about stuff. A lot of the stuff we got from Dave Ramsey, it has like a foundation of his.
Right.
And he has like a very conservative, very strict, like, dude, cut out everything. Netflix, gone. Fuck it. You're eating rice and beans, ramen noodles until you get out of debt. And we're like, not so fast, Dave Ramsey. Like, we're not fucking doing that.
But we did to a certain extent.
We did, but you have to adjust. Like,
right.
He didn't make this shit up. Like, this is his deal. I'm not Dave Ramsey. I can do it my way.
Like, it took a minute, right, for us to pay down our debt, to pay off our debt. And we did celebrate.
Yeah.
And we allowed ourselves to, right? Like you're saying, he was like crazy. He was like, no eating out. Yeah. Get rid of everything that you have extra and all these things. And we did sacrifice on anniversaries, birthdays, stuff like that. Right.
Right.
But we also celebrated our wins when we did
in between. When
we did take a big sum of money that we could have bought a TV with or upgraded sofas with or whatever, and that money went to paying the debt off. Right. We did celebrate, whether it was going out to eat or buying lobster and making it at home. Yeah. Whatever it was, we did celebrate the little things that we did on the way to paying off debt. And I think that's really important, is to do that.
Celebrating the little wins.
Yes.
I think Joe Coy mentioned that when he was on our podcast. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But I think, that's definitely, important. And one of the techniques that Dave Ramsey uses to get out of debt, which is like, I completely agree with, is you take, like, a lot of people, they have this philosophy, like, you want to pay down the stuff with the highest interest rate first, and that's all great or whatever. But for me, and the way my mindset works, is like, I have a certain amount of people that I owe money to. The bank, for this credit card, for this credit card, for this car, for this, or whatever. And you just line them up, smallest to biggest. Because the way I see it is, once I pay that off, that's one less person that I owe money to.
Right.
So instead of owing 5 people money, now I owe 4.
And it takes a shorter amount of time to be able to do that, so you feel good.
Yeah, you're having wins quicker.
Right.
And you're building up the discipline, because the last one's going to take you longer to pay off. But now you've already built up a couple wins, and you feel good about what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Which is another thing that we didn't mention. Like, we talk about, like, how you have this lump sum of money that comes from, whether it's taxes or somebody passes away and they leave you a bunch of money or whatever, right? And it's like the money's already spent. And if you're trying to get out of debt, it freaking sucks, especially those first couple of times, because you're like, I would like to get a nicer car, because you're going to have a shitty car because you got to try to get out of debt so that, get ahead or whatever. And it's like, I would like to do this, or I would like to do that, or we haven't been on vacation in fucking forever, and I would like to take this money and go on vacation, but I'm going to take it and put it on this freaking credit card.
Right.
And it doesn't feel good.
No. At the moment, it does not.
Just like going to the gym, there is something about it that when you're done, once you put that fucking check in the mail and you're like, fucking give me it back,
right.
It's gone. But now you're checking the account and it's like, when is it going to go down another $5,000? Because I remember that time that I put the freaking check in the mailbox.
Yeah. And we took a picture, and I think we even posted it in 2013.
At a certain point, like, it's exciting on the other end. Like, I'm checking the screen, like, I want to see when it goes down. Because I can't wait till I don't owe you fuckers any more money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you look forward to that. It's a shift.
It is about think about this, the emotion that was attached to that. And once you saw it hit 0, how it felt to be free.
Dude, they literally own you.
Yeah.
They literally, like, it's like what it said. The borrower is slave to the lender. Like, I don't owe you shit.
Yeah.
Nothing. Because if not, I'm going to come take your shit.
And prior to 2013, we talked about being debt free, but it was difficult to get there a lot of times because of the situation that we were in. I mean, we had 5 kids at one time, paying a shitload of child support, court cases. I mean, just everything. It was really difficult to get
because money was flying out in different places.
Right. And we had to do what we had to do. And if you are in the situation where you have made the decision to be debt free and you've fallen off that track, and you try to get back on and you fall off, it's really okay. It's okay. Make the decision. Because most people, they'll just give up. They'll give up trying just because they've never stuck to it. When we finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and we made that decision, enough is enough. Yeah. That was it. And we both came to an agreement. If you are in a relationship, you cannot make that decision on your own. And that would be it would be impossible.
And we also, I'm sure, like, we made mistakes. Spending, going out to eat because it was easier, more convenient to do something or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like not giving each other a hard time about it. Like, understanding these things are human nature. It's hard to break. Sometimes. And it's like, habits. And when it happens, it's like, hey, babe, I thought we were trying to get it. Like, don't forget what we're trying to do. Oh, shit. Yeah, sorry. And not taking it personally, like, well, you fucking.
Right. Thanks for bringing that up, because that is what makes things
Like
very challenging.
If we start getting into the you did, I did, who did, we're never going to fucking get there.
No. You have to come together and come to an agreement, but know that, yeah, like you said, we're human and we're going to make mistakes. And it's owning up to that mistake, first of all, and taking responsibility. And the other person, forgiveness, but also you forgiving yourself, and then getting back on track again.
Yeah. Remembering what's important. What are we trying to do?
Right.
You know?
It's all work.
Yeah.
It's learning, it's growing, it's
awareness.
Forgiving. Yep. Becoming aware. Getting back on track, making the decision.
And one thing that I wanted to mention, because when we talk about these things, like we're sharing these things with you guys, these are things that we know, that we've learned over the years. But it doesn't mean that they're not things that we don't struggle with, that we don't double think, that the human nature doesn't come over us. Every time that we've had the need, or well, this time it wasn't really a need, it was a want, but we bought a vehicle. Every time that we've done it, there's been talk of getting a loan.
Yes. Yeah, that's funny.
Even this last time.
Yeah.
We talk all this shit about being debt free and this and that, but every time there has been talk of, well, maybe we can borrow a couple $1,000 so we can get a little bit nicer of a vehicle. That's human shit.
Right. And we have friends who have purchased a vehicle using somebody else's money, and there's a way to do it, but we don't understand that yet. Right?
Yeah,
like we don't understand that
right
yet. Like
you.
Leasing a vehicle under the business, under
Whatever.
the LLC. But that is the next step of learning these things. But it's still, for a vehicle, it may not be that great of an idea. We don't know yet. We're not there yet,
we'll
but we're trying to figure that out.
Like I said, these are all games. And if that part of the game it applies, and that a good point that you're bringing up is one of the things that made how we ended up getting out of debt different than how Dave Ramsey suggests, because I don't hear him talk about this aspect of it much, because he is really, I think he mostly thinks about security. A family with two people that are working full-time jobs. They're doing the traditional thing, trying to raise kids, a couple, 2 jobs, 2 incomes. And I mean, there's no money coming in from anywhere else, right?
Right.
This is a typical couple that spends money on Netflix, goes out to eat from time to time. They go to church, donate money. They donate to a couple things here and there and regular expenses, right?
Right.
Where for us, it's like, I have a regular job. We've always had a business on the side.
Right.
There are benefits to owning a business, whether your business makes money or not, because there are tax benefits to it.
Right.
And when you've been around business, I mean, you can't say like we're giant business successes, but we've been around it enough to learn certain things. And one of the things is that the government will give a tax benefit to a business because a business creates employees that pay taxes. So political or not, however you want to see it or believe it, this is green. This is money. The tax codes, regardless of whoever's in power, is going to benefit businesses, and businesses will figure out, because what they're about is making money, will figure out how to write off absolutely as much as they can, and the government will give them more write-offs because they create more taxpayers. So because we've always had, and a side business counts. Any side business counts. Like any hustle that you're trying to do. I mean, I need to take phone calls. I need to have internet. You know, we have an office that we have to do business with. So we write off square footage of our house, a percentage of our electricity, a percentage of our water, our cell phone bills, internet that we would have had anyway.
things we're spending on the retreat.
We have to have computers for work.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you don't have a business, I'm pretty sure you have computers anyway. How do you live?
Right.
The difference is that we write these things off for business because they are. You know?
Right.
So they're games that we play.
And this is a game that we learned how to play through Legal Shield.
Right.
Like hanging out with people.
With business. The people that are business minded.
Right.
And
asking questions. Like, it's okay to ask questions.
Don't feel like if you're ignorant, they just have knowledge in an area that you don't know about.
And they're so willing to teach you if you just ask the questions.
You know, they would be just as dumb as me in aviation if they came and just showed up to my work like,
Right.
"Oh, what is this?" And be like, "Oh, you don't know? Like, how dumb?"
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's like, no, you just don't know money. Let me show you. Ask. I'm curious.
Right.
We'll ask. Like, we run into somebody and we're like, "Dude, how did you do it?"
Right. No, for sure.
Like, even if I don't want to do it, if you're good at something, how'd you get that good at whatever that is?
Right. Like podcasting. Right?
Right.
I mean, there were tons of stuff that you looked up on podcasting.
Yeah. You just learn.
And asking, right?
Yeah. Yep.
A closed mouth does not get fed.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So
open
the other
your mouth.
There you go. I got to get those sound effects ready. But so yeah, like when it comes to business and having a side business, that is one thing that Dave Ramsey doesn't really talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of took his conservative ways where you buckle down on everything
in order to pay off debt.
But we also we weren't like, we're canceling everything on the planet. Like we stopped going out to eat as much because you start noticing that is a major, major expense. Mm-hmm. Just going out to eat is a major expense for every family. A lot of times when you're trying to figure out where your money's going, that's where it's going.
Right.
Because you're not cooking at home.
Right.
Right. So just cutting that out and putting all of that money towards debt helped us knock it out tremendously. And then taking business money when we did have good times in business, like the extra $500, $1,000, $1,200, just take that, whatever we didn't absolutely need for the business, because these are all slippery slopes.
Right.
It's like, oh, well, I'm going out to lunch. This is a business expense. It's like, no, you didn't need to spend that money in the first place.
Right.
Put that towards the debt.
Right.
For
women, what I did, because I used to purchase my makeup at Dillard's or at Macy's. I was buying $26 lipsticks, $26 mascaras. Like I would throw down money. And that is something that I cut back on, was that doing some research on what mascara is just as good, right? There are some things that you can get away with when it comes to makeup. Unfortunately, mascara wasn't one of them, but there are things that you can. And I've just stuck to that. Like I've just stuck to that.
Yeah. And that kind of goes back to something that we were kind of getting
shoes.
into on the last podcast. And something that one of your friends recently brought up, Steve Hardison. He was talking about value, and it's like, spend your money on things that you find valuable, that have value. Like, mascara, and it goes with anything. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's freaking Kroger or Kirkland brand, is it good? Is it just as good? Is the brand name better? In some cases, the brand name is expensive for a reason.
Right.
In other cases, you can get the cheap stuff and it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
Or better.
Right. I am smiling.
Why? Because I know you like talking smack.
Because I remember when we started doing this, and I remember one time you brought home, and this is before we had the days, but some shitty ass toilet paper.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, there's just some things you don't skip out on. And my toothpaste. He freaking did both. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'll let you talk. I'll let you hang yourself.
And I was
Keep
right.
Talking. Keep talking.
And I was right.
I'll let you hang yourself. Keep talking.
Because you even admitted to that. There's certain things that you just can't do that with.
No. All right.
No?
Whatever.
No?
Listen. listen, Linda, what happened with both of those things is that you wanted the brand name stuff. And I said, let's try the other stuff. Because when it comes to, I don't want to get gross on here, but what the fuck are we doing with toilet paper?
I don't care.
I don't literally give a shit. I don't care.
He didn't.
I don't care.
And that's why he got
I'm
shit
like,
on his fingers.
Why don't we try the other stuff? It's not going to kill you. No, I didn't. It wasn't like I was getting the fucking see-through stuff. I wasn't getting that. I'm just saying, let's get the Kirkland stuff. It's all the same. We can save some money.
Nah, dude. It wasn't the Kirkland shit.
And
this was probably before we even had Costco.
Okay, so let's go back to the toothpaste. What happened after we tried the toothpaste? It
ended
sucked.
up going back. I know.
So how are you supposed to find out whether it's good or not?
Dude, I don't know, but there's
because
just
you didn't want to try.
feeling.
Because you didn't want to try the off-brand. See,
Dude.
you're not even going by the shit that we're talking about. Got you. That's why I said keep talking. Keep hanging yourself.
I just had a feeling you don't mess with certain things.
Well, you could try it and then switch back.
I said, do not.
You're not going to find out unless you try.
I don't care about anything else, but don't mess with my toilet paper and don't mess with my toothpaste.
You got issues. You need coaching about tissues and fucking toilet paper and toothpaste.
Women.
What happened? What did your mom do with the toilet paper and the toothpaste? Where's this coming from?
There's times
Where's
where
this
I didn't
coming
have
from?
any. I didn't have anything to wipe my butt with.
Ah, that's what it is. You used to like mix the.
Hey, you're not the coach.
We didn't even have toothpaste. We used to use baking soda.
Oh my god. Oh, my mom's gonna choke you. She would be like, "What?"
Happy Mother's Day.
But that's for real. It's like we're all we're laughing and giggling and all this other stuff. But it was, man, it was difficult to do the things that we ended just having that self-discipline to do it.
But like we said, there's games to this thing and starting a business. I mean, and really, what is a business? It's an idea. It's something that, you do. I understand, like for some people, like your career, that is your passion. That's what you do. But man, like for me, I want to have something that's mine. Like I just have to be working on my own thing somehow.
Yeah.
Man,
and don't be scared to try new things.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Shit is scary. I know. Oh my gosh, like retreats. Ugh. There's
Yeah, your retreat sold out.
Yes.
And this podcast is coming out during the retreat.
Yes. And it was scary. Like serious to jump and do that, and it still is.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's new, it's different. When we first started the business, that was new, it was different, it was scary. When we decided to rent out our first house, it was new, it was scary. What if the renters didn't pay rent? We made sure that we had an emergency account. We didn't even talk about the emergency account. Dave Ramsey talks about that.
Yeah. Make
sure you guys look up Dave Ramsey. So we made sure we had the emergency account just in case she didn't pay, So well, it's like,
I think a big part of it is just thinking things through also, because like thinking things through and not being impatient about stuff, because we've also, like you said, the emergency account. We ended up having a rental house, which like, we're like, all right, well, we're going to try this thing. And it's always been good for us.
right.
Right. But it's also thinking like we have this thing that makes us money, but that there is, like, you hear floods, AC going out.
Right.
Like major problems
that happened with us
when you need money.
Right.
Yeah, we had a flood.
We had the AC.
Shit,
both.
The AC went out, and then all of a sudden we get a call like there's water fucking leaking from all over the place.
Right.
And these are things that happen, and if you're not
prepared,
that's on you. This morning I showed you a post from one of the guys that I really like, Jocko Willink.
Oh, yes.
And this dude, I am glad there's people like him out there.
Because they help us to become better.
It's not me. He is him.
Right.
And I'm glad he is him.
Right.
But he wakes up at 4:30 fucking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, he talks about like if he's flying somewhere, whatever. But he is the definition of discipline.
Right.
4:30 up doing burpees and pull-ups and Navy SEAL shit. And today he posts a picture and it's his watch and it's off. Like it doesn't have any numbers on it. He's like, battery died on the first watch, back up, the backups in the game get some still going. Like if you only have one, you have none.
Yeah.
He's like ready for whatever. So it's like when we had this rental house, it was like, all right, we know these things could happen. I'm not an expert. I'm just going to make some shit up, but I think it'd be a good idea to have something like 10 grand in an account just in case something happens.
Right.
And guess what? That account has come in handy when the AC went out, when we had a leak underneath the garage,
yes,
and the slab.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
That was a couple grand also that we had to spend.
Right.
When the water heater goes out. Like, you just never know. Some major shit goes down.
Right.
And then guess what? When that also comes in handy. When you're trying to buy a car cash.
Yes. Which you're not supposed to be commingling.
But the thing is that you have funds that you can move around because you've been smart with your money and you thought things through.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And you're not putting yourself in a position like, where do I need to borrow money from? And now they have a little control over me.
Right. Yeah. These are all things that we just learned. And I'm going to give a shout out. If you don't have Legal Shield, you need Legal Shield. Go to wearelegalshield.soniaramirez.com. Damn, I forgot it. We are Legal Shield.
Oh, jeez. You should have planned this out.
SonyaSapien.com. That legal service that we sold for many years, like over a decade, has come into, rescue us, help us in so many ways.
If you guys are interested in learning more, hit us up, send us a message or whatever. There's all kinds of legal services. One of the biggest things that it's came in handy for was like consultation, advice, just like, I wonder if legally we could do this, could do that, and looking over stuff like our paperwork.
Well, for example, why did you just cut me off?
Sorry.
Recently, they helped me with a waiver, like an agreement for my retreat. Yeah. Because of all the liabilities that
you got
take
people
place
kayaking,
with that. Right. And not just the breath work, all of it.
Right.
And so, they helped me get that agreement together, that waiver of liability, all of that together.
How much does that cost? Right.
$24.95 a month.
And you guys can get that by hitting us up. Yeah. Send us a message if you guys are interested. We'll send you more information.
Because a lot of people, the reason why they're scared of making these changes, renting a property out, because they don't know the legal, like, what are my rights legally?
And you know what? Not to turn this into a freaking commercial, but last episode we were talking about how like it's hard to get information. Like, where's the correct information? You look up Google or Wikipedia, and then it's like, what are the Arizona laws on this and this and that? And it's like, well, is that what it is? And then you have like one law firm that tells you one thing. You got one. That's one thing that's been kind of cool, is like, these are good law firms that you call and they're giving you legit advice.
Yep. So, in all states. Yeah. Which is awesome, because my retreats are going to be in different states.
Yeah. Give us a call.
I'm just saying. Most people don't know.
Yep. But this has been it's been a cool process, like the whole buying a car and then doing it, and then just like realizing, certain things, and like, like I was talking about last episode, thinking about like, if we were to try to keep up with the Joneses, I got to get the new car and I got to get the new this and the new, like, the stress that freaking puts on people. Oh my God, just live your life. Be happy.
Right. But most people, baby, don't know what that means. They don't know what happiness, joy, like, they don't understand what that means.
Ask why. Exactly. Why do you need that? Why are you doing that? Why? All the fucking time.
Yeah. I think, like, I had put a post up of, I've been actually, lately I haven't been making my posts have been very short, just with pictures if I'm posting, because I haven't felt called to share. Yeah. And if I don't feel called to share, I don't share. Right? Like, the words don't even come to my mind. Isn't that crazy? Like, I just don't have the passion, or I just don't have the want to, because there's nothing to share. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And these past 2 days, I've just felt
sharing.
Like, someone needs to hear this. Therefore, I'm going to share. And they're long ass posts, by the way. They're long. And the last one was talking about like us, right? And
Yeah. You're sharing our story and all the things that we've been through. And
like our life, all the challenges, all the obstacles that we've been through. And the last one was regarding Adriana. She was in a quinceañera.
Yeah. Dude, she's been kicking butt.
Yeah. And it's amazing how our children are truly like they're gifts wrapped up in sweetness and lessons. That's what I put. Because there is so much that we've learned about ourselves through raising them. Fears, especially me, the fear, the one of my core beliefs that was not positive was just not, and I think I've talked about this before, not feeling that I was smart enough.
Yeah.
And recognizing that as a child, I lacked the confidence because I learned different than all the other kids. But I didn't understand that back then. I just thought I was dumb.
Yeah.
And worked really hard when I found out that I was pregnant with Audrey to make sure that she wasn't going to be that. So I was raising her in the fear of being like me, not being smart, because that's what I felt. And I don't know if you read this post, but when she was a baby, I would have her listening to when she was in my belly,
Yeah.
I was listening to classical music.
Because that's smart.
Because that would, yeah. Because you heard that. Like you look it up and you can read some stuff on that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it continued that even when she was born.
Your baby can read.
As
Baby
soon
Einstein.
as she can sit up, all of that.
Yeah.
Then got someone coming to the house. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Working with her. Sounds like great parenting, right? It was coming from fear.
Yeah. But it's not a bad thing.
It's not, but I had to. There were times when she got older, when things started to become more challenging and I started to see things in her that I saw in me and having meltdowns at the table and putting all this pressure on her.
Yeah.
Unhealthy. It was not coming from a good place. That's the difference.
It's funny how you can see the changes that we made.
Mm-hmm.
Because even between the two kids, like they're only 2 years apart.
Right.
Right? Joey is going to turn 13 this year. Audrey's turning 15. So they're just a little bit over 2 years apart. But as far as like school years, they're like 4 years apart. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Joey's going into 7th grade. They're 3 years apart. Audrey's going into 7th grade, or Joey's going into 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Audrey's going into 10th. And the reason that there's such a big gap in school was because we noticed with Audrey and we started thinking about it. And I remember talking to you about it. It was like, dude, they're kids. They're little kids and they're going to be in school. They're going to be learning for 13 years at least to get out of high school.
Yeah.
If they want, they're going to go to college. That's another 4 more years and another 4 more.
Of their life.
And it's like, they're a baby.
Right.
Like preschool, great, whatever. But how about you just let them play? Just let them be a kid. And when it's time to go to school, then they can go to school. And for Joey, he didn't go to preschool. He didn't go to all that stuff.
Total opposite.
Well, no, Joey went to preschool for a little bit.
Right.
But he didn't stay in it forever.
No.
And we ended up taking him out. And then it was like, okay, it's time for, like, he could go to kindergarten. And we're like, but he could also start next year.
Right.
It's like, fuck it, just start him next year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the grand scheme of things, it's like, okay, he's ahead a year. Who gives a fuck? But the thing is that there's this book that I read called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And it talks about like the difference, like what makes certain people the best at what they do in their field or whatever. And we like to think that we have control over everything. But there are certain things in life that you just wouldn't even think would have an effect. Like if I was 6'2" or whatever, average height for a football player, and I really was passionate about it, you wouldn't think that something like my birth date could have an effect on whether I became or didn't become a football player. But when you read this book and they start breaking it down, they did studies on a hockey team. And because hockey seasons start at a certain time of the year, there's a cutoff for a certain age. And when it comes to kids and their age, like the difference between a little kid that's 5 and 6, there's a difference. Maybe between 21 and 22, there's not much of a difference. But in 5 and 6, there could be a difference that one kid's a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, a little bit stronger because they're closer to being 6. It makes a difference at that age. So because of your birth date, the coach might notice that you're a little bit faster. The other kid's a little bit stronger, and they pay a little bit more attention to this kid because they help the team be better. And the other kid doesn't get as much attention, right? That has nothing to do with you. You just happen to be born on this date and you have a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So, our kids are great lessons for us.
Yeah.
You know, recognizing, and, you know, with me, it was just taking the time and realizing that it wasn't about her, it was about me.
Yeah.
The intention was not so that she could fully be capable or smarter, whatever. It was the fear within me for my how I felt.
You didn't want her to be like what you thought you were.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so just going through like my healing process and recognizing, becoming more aware and really slowing down, things started to unfold. And I realized that I was raising her in fear. And once I realized that, that's when I completely stepped back and started working on me and allowing her to be her. And once I let up on her, she flourished. It was absolutely beautiful, absolutely amazing. This little girl, young woman, straight A's, like, and there's nothing that we have to tell her. She just does it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, this, before we get into anything else, I wanted to kind of talk about this parenting journey and, you know, some of the things that we've been talking about recently. But before we do that, make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Share it with the people that you know. Like we said before, the best thing you can do is share this with somebody else. Share a clip with them. Go to our clips channel, Opposites Attract Podcast Clips on YouTube. And, yeah, you can like, subscribe, comment, all of that stuff. If you guys want to support us, you can click on the Support the Show tab at the top of our website, and it'll take you to our Amazon link and any shopping that you do. Father's Day's coming up now.
Yay!
Right?
Woo!
So if you guys are buying anything, I don't know, pocket knife or whatever the hell you buy, Dad, you can do it through our link, and it'll help us out.
Yes, and if you would like to support the show in another manner, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod and buy us a virtual drink, and you can subscribe to that on a monthly basis as well.
There you go. So yeah, you know, talking about all this parenting stuff and like teaching Joey these lessons and him buying this hermit crab tank that we were talking about last week on the last episode, and him learning like these negotiation and earning money, you know, like you were talking about last week, that I brought the money to him and let him hold it and feel it and told him like, dude, this isn't money that I'm borrowing. This is money that I earned. I worked for this money. And, you know, it's good to hold it, to feel it, to know that this is what you're giving and this is what I'm getting in return for my work, you know? And just like remembering from time to time, I think you were kind of getting into it, that they're their own beings. You know, like, yeah, we're their parents, and that has a title. You know, it is a thing, right? They came from us. But at the end of the day, they are their own beings. They are not us.
Nope.
They are not us.
Nope.
They are their own people.
Yes.
They are their own people, and we have no rights over them. We have the privilege to help guide them through life.
As they guide us.
And as they teach us, and
Yes.
as they guide us. As they help us, as we help each other grow.
Right. Yep. So
But
beautiful.
When you understand that we are just beings on this planet that happen to be born, you don't have any rights over them. You don't have right to yell at them and get mad and all these fucking things, because they are them.
Right. We are here to help them to learn from their mistakes so that they don't continue making the same mistake over and over. But maybe that's how they learn. Maybe that's how Joey will learn. And continue making the same mistake to learn the lesson.
And it's crazy.
That's okay.
It's crazy to think, like, as a parent, like, you shouldn't yell at them. You don't discipline them. You don't do these because they are their own beings. Even though that sounds right in a way.
Yeah.
But it seems weird that as a parent, like, having little beings, you know, I don't know, like, teaching them, guiding them, like, discipline is part of it.
Right.
We were talking all this shit. Let's switch it up. We were talking about it last week that we should start beating them again. We should remind them what it was like. Like, in case you forgot, here's a whooping of what could happen. You better keep your shit straight. So let's flip it right now, right?
Yes. And there was so much that we had to unlearn regarding that. Oh my God, you guys, we were not these parents. You know, at the beginning, we were not these parents. We got spanked, right?
Yep.
Like, I mean, yeah. And we got yelled at. Our parents did not parent to us the way we are parenting.
We didn't parent the way we parent.
At the beginning.
We've changed completely.
Completely. Some people go totally overboard. Like, they go one direction way over, right? Like, we talk to them. We explain to them. We show, right? We lead by example.
So is there, what are the, I'm going to get us in trouble. What are the statute of limitations on spanking kids? For one, disclaimer.
I got to call the law firm.
For one, yeah, let's call that law firm that we were talking about earlier in the episode. If you guys want a lawyer, hit us up. Everybody's doing lawyer spots. We got some too. Hit us up. But I don't know what the statute of limitations is. Asterisks. We did not, like, I have spanked the kids on their butt in the past.
Yes.
You know, I've never used anything to spank them. It's like, you know, a little discipline here and there. This is like freaking years ago.
Right. When they were little.
Can't get me anymore.
When they were little.
But look,
Aww,
we've talked about, I know. Aww, when you even fucking think about it like that, that's fucked up.
It is. I'm going to make you cry.
We're putting ourselves in jail. Next episode from ourselves. Lock us up. No,
Aww.
But you know, yeah, it's fucked up when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And these are the things that hopefully we kind of help them with through life, right? Yeah. You fucking make mistakes and you learn. But and we were talking last week, we were driving home from somewhere, and it's like, it seems like just the right amount of spanking. Like there is this balance. We talk about balance, right? You got to beat them just enough.
You're stupid.
Just enough to where they don't want to fucking kill you.
I told Miguel, we turned out fine.
You know, but it does seem that way because you got like some kids that are just fucking buck wild out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like they need a couple fucking flicks to the dome. Oh my
God.
You know, you got to keep them in check.
Yeah. So
is there that right amount? Hit us up. 480-331-9846. Are you beating your kids out there?
Let us know.
You can be anonymous. You got
we got lawyers.
Fucking beating them in the. Oh, I'm beating my kids right now. You know.
Not funny.
Don't
funny,
do that.
Not funny.
Not
hey,
funny.
funny.
We will not
funny.
play that. We will not play that on the podcast. Don't do that shit. Don't send us that.
But no, it's just because we look at ourselves and it's like we turned out fine, but then there are some that did not turn out fine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, And the more we start to really learn about, I guess it is kind of like psychology. You know, the more we become aware, the more we become mindful and become more present, like you just recognize some things, you see some things, and it just makes so much sense.
You want some awareness? When we're talking about now, years later, our kids are, both of them are about to be teenagers, right? Well, one of them's already been a teenager, right?
Yes.
We got the other one. The youngest one is going to be a teenager. And you
In
look
October,
back and reflecting
yes.
on all this stuff, you know, the awareness is like when they're good, when nothing's happening, it's like, man, we probably shouldn't have spanked them. We could have got away with not spanking them.
Right,
you know?
right.
But when we get done with dinner and shit's a mess and you've told them to clean it up and the shit's still down there, it's like, maybe we should start spanking them again. That's awareness right there. It's like, you know what? Shit changes, emotions, feelings change, and sometimes we want to slap them around a little bit again, you know?
Slap the little one with the big one.
Slap the little one with the big one. The other day, it was funny. That's our joke. Beat the big one with the little one.
Right, right. Yeah, no, parenting is no joke. It's not easy. I don't know how some of you have
shit's messy.
More than two. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
Like, it's, for me, two is like perfect because then they have a little playmate.
Yeah.
Right? And having more than two, I don't know, you're starting to rock the boat a little bit. You know?
Yeah.
And financially, it's like, how in the world
we
do
were
these
just talking
people
about
have
that
like
this morning.
5 kids, 6 kids? Like, how do you do it? How do you become, and how are you able to be so like present?
Well, and for some people, if you're young listening to this, those are things that we actually talked about and we thought about. Like after we had our second kid, after we had Joey, our last one, I mean, it is a conscious decision. Like there's only, no matter what, so much money to go around, right? Mm-hmm. If we have one more kid, that's one more kid that we have to buy a bedroom set for, get food for. And it's not like we're going to love them less. We're going to love them all the same. It's going to have to happen. Quality of life goes down. You can't go out as much to eat with everybody when you got extra people in the family. And if you got 6 people in your family, that's way more.
For me, it's looking at the time, though. The time that you spend with each individual kid. Like, could you imagine?
That is true, too.
Like,
you have 10 kids. There's only so much time in the day.
How much, yeah. Like,
and
how much do you know them? How much do you, and this is just me speaking out loud, right? Some people are really made to have a lot of kids. I just knew I wasn't one of them. And I'm so thankful that you knew the same.
No, well, yes. But at the same time, at a certain point, I don't think it's a good thing. Yeah. Like everything, there's balance. Because I don't know about you, but I've listened to interviews of people talking about stuff. And you hear somebody that's like, oh, yeah, I got like 13 brothers and sisters. Mm-hmm. And then they start talking about the effects of their parents having that many kids. Right. Have you ever heard of interviews like that? And it's like, it's not always a good thing.
Well, yeah.
Actually, I don't think it's ever a good thing. It always seems like I needed a little bit more attention.
Yeah, no, I've coached some adults,
so
that had
it's
big
just something
families
to think about.
And didn't feel seen, didn't feel heard, didn't feel loved.
And on the last episode, I don't know how we got into it, but I think I think we were talking about keeping up with the Joneses. Mm-hmm. This is something that there shouldn't be anything wrong with it. Regardless of what you're questioning, why? Why?
What do you mean? You got to
why
get
am
more
I doing
into
this?
that. Okay.
Why
am I feeling this way?
So I have 2 kids. I'm going to have another one. Why? I feel like I want to have 10 kids. Why? Is it because that's what's around your community? Is that what's expected of everybody around you?
Right.
Why are you buying this car? Why are you buying that house? Why are you going to go do that? Why are you quitting your job? Why are you not going to work? Why?
Right. Yeah.
Because at the end of if you think about it, like I have 9 kids. You don't need a 10th one. I don't think. What's wrong with the other 9? So please, look, if there's problems with the other 9, please stop. Don't do it again. Because then it's just now it's a problem for the rest of us.
Oh my god.
There's consequences.
Get some dogs, get some cats. Right?
Yeah. Yep. Get some cats.
Get some cats.
I
We're
love
even
dogs.
like
I love dogs.
dogs are absolutely amazing.
But they're messy.
They're work, man. They're just work.
Yeah.
They're work.
Yep. A couple weeks ago I was talking about something that I wanted to mention, like I wanted to elaborate a little bit on it because I talked to Joey and I had mentioned it to you. There was a video that I shared with it was about being articulate. And it was a video with Jordan Peterson. He's somebody that, if you guys know him, he's known for being very articulate and like being able to explain himself. And recently we've been listening a lot to, I've been sharing with you and with you guys, a lot of Alan Watts stuff. And if you've listened to him speak, he's very articulate with the way he speaks and the words that he chooses for what he's saying. And I had mentioned that I've been thinking about a lot of different things and how having deep thoughts leads to thinking about a lot of different avenues of stuff that you could go down any which rabbit hole and just take that in a certain direction, right? But I'm trying to stay within like the bigger picture, the universe thing type, right? And the only way to like really elaborate and wrap your mind around these really complex and multifaceted things is to write your thoughts down. Like I was really having these thoughts of stuff. And then I come across this video of Jordan Peterson talking about being articulate. And I start understanding the power of that, you know, and I've always had this sense of it. And I've told you, like, I've always said it. And then little by little, it becomes more and more important is the power of words and how you speak and what you say and what those words mean. Like sometimes like, it's just words. It's like, no, words mean things and they have a meaning, and the way you express that meaning can have effects and can have impacts. And that's important, right? I was kind of talking about how I related it to confidence and like martial arts. Because there's fake martial arts, there's real martial arts, real self-defense, things that are actually effective in ultimately combat, right? Is what it is. Hand-to-hand fighting. And if you're somebody who practices in martial arts, in real fighting, there's not really, you have a confidence about yourself that there's not much that anybody has to say, can do, that's gonna like really shake you because you know your stuff, right? Yeah. You could come and talk to me about, you know, this magic technique that you saw, or you could get tough and get crazy and think that you're gonna do or be or turn into somebody that you have in your head. But when you have experience, when you do martial arts, you defend yourself, you practice on a regular basis, like you just know. And you have that confidence and you can express it when it comes down to it. And I was kind of thinking about like speaking and being articulate. That is fighting with your words. That's pretty much what that is. And the more you practice being articulate and writing things out and being able to put thoughts together clearly, concisely, that makes sense, the more confidence you have, you know?
And the more you can spin people around in circles.
Well, that's the thing, is that when you understand things clearly, like the truth will prevail. The problem is people speak well. And if you don't know as much and you can't explain, you can't be articulate about your position as well, you can get spun in circles. And if that topic is something that is important to you, you should probably learn about it so that you can articulate your position.
Yes.
I'm just saying. Writing things down, I know, has that effect of being like writing, reading, listening, thinking. It has a powerful effect.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
But yeah, it was something I was talking to Joey about, you know, because he is a kid that's also, you can tell he thinks about a lot of stuff deeply. And I'm like, good, think about it. And I don't know if this is a thing, but sometimes when you watch Elon Musk, you can tell, obviously, the things that he does, the way he thinks on a different, his brain is different, right? He thinks differently. But when you hear him get interviewed sometimes, you hear like he's stuttering, and it's like, what are you trying to, and then he'll say something and you're like, oh shit, like he just dropped something. Something kind of slips out, you know? Yeah. But I think it's just that it's just working on such a high, like his mouth has trouble keeping up with what he's saying. And with Joey, because he's so young, his brain is thinking things that he doesn't know how to say. Right. And then he gets frustrated when he's trying to explain something to us, and he's just like, forget it.
Yeah. It's the art of communication is,
and I think that's
something that you learn. There's times where I am that, and when I am that, I have to go within and allow myself to feel, because I am that. I run with emotion. So I have to go, in order for me to write the post that I wrote, I read them to you. Yeah. And your response was,
you're an amazing writer.
The only way I could articulate myself in that manner is for me to go within. I had to go within and to feel the emotion behind what was coming up for me. I had to go there in order to write that.
Right.
And there's times where I'm not called to do that, right? And so I will be silent on Facebook because it's just not coming to me through that emotion. I have it, but I don't know how to articulate that until I give myself the time to really sit in what I'm feeling and the message that I'm supposed to share. Because there is a message. The reason why I made those posts was because there was a message that someone needed to hear. Right. Therefore, I shared it.
So I think there's two things, right? You're talking about the inspiration. Sometimes there's just not the inspiration to write a message and put it out. So there is no message. And then the other thing is the skill of writing.
Yes.
Right? Before in the podcast, you were talking about how you always kind of before felt like you weren't smart enough. And that is a skill of smart people, writing. Like for you, writing a book before would have been like, that's not happening. Right? But now you're like, I'm writing a book. It's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And if you look at what you wrote in the past, like years ago, and what you write today, there's probably a difference. And yes, in order to write something incredible, there should be like a genuine inspiration. We got birds eating out of the bird feeder over here. There should be like a genuine inspiration combined with skillful writing. But you've been writing recently, a lot more than you have ever been writing. So your skill of writing has increased, which is why when you write a post now, it's not like a post before, where what's happening with Joey, what this has all to do with is what's happening with Joey is that he has this power plant. Like it's just this fucking powerful computer up here.
His brain
that just is processing, seeing, understanding all this stuff.
Right.
But his mouth just cannot express that.
Yes.
And writing things down and thinking about things and reading and practicing and trying and failing and trying and failing and trying again and not being understood. Now that I even think about it, within my own beliefs, I am just now getting to a place where I can start explaining it in a way that makes sense. This entire fucking time, I sound like a crazy person. What the fuck are you even talking about? That is this and that and this and that.
Yeah.
It's with practice. And now I'm going to start writing it.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. It is the art of communicating what you're feeling, what's going on. The disconnect, and I could be wrong, but I can tell you in relationships, this is the disconnect. Because we are not very familiar with our emotions to be able to identify what this feeling is within our gut. Right? When someone hurts our feelings or says something, it's like, it's very hard to, this is something different though, but it's still the art of communicating. Like if you said something hurtful and me, instead of getting angry and not being able to put the words together, it's like what you said really made me feel invincible.
And yes.
And I'm feeling hurt and sad.
And you know what that is? Being able to do that. Ultimately, everything that we've been talking about is mastery. Mastering yourself and mastering your life. When we talk about buying the car, it's mastering and disciplining your finances, the way you see money, the way you think. Understanding parenting and kids, that they're their own beings. It's mastering what parenting is, what life is, what beings are. Understanding it on that level fully. Mm-hmm. Mastery. It's the balance, the yin and the yang, like being balanced.
Being in a relationship.
The mastery is not being emotional and being reactive. Is understanding things for what they are. When I say something hurtful to you, like you were saying, mastery is, that didn't have to do with me. When you said that, like, yeah, it hurt my feel. But when you lose your self-control and you actually lash out because it did hurt your feelings, that's not mastery. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt your feelings.
There's a way to express. There's a way to share. There's a way to communicate.
Right.
The art of communication. But in order to know how to communicate, you have to know how to
control yourself.
Express what you're feeling.
Right.
Yeah, and be able to control yourself, having that self-mastery. Right?
Yep.
And at times, even though what you said hurt my feelings, there could be something within me that needs healing as well. And that's another step up of awareness of self. Because maybe the way you said what you said, you didn't mean to hurt my feelings, but because I am feeling some kind of lack within, it triggered that emotion. But still, the communication is being able to say, hey, what you just said made me feel A, B, and C. Like giving you that so that we can clean this up, so that there's not a miscommunication. There's not a fight. There's not, you know what I'm saying?
There was something that I saw recently. It was like a meme or something. I don't know if I downloaded it, but it was like that. Like if somebody can make you feel emotions, it's like they have a control over you, you know, or maybe it was like anger or something like that. But yeah. And that's what life is. In the end, is mastery, is getting better little by little. The purpose is just like we keep getting better. We keep learning more. We expand. We grow.
It's unlearning and relearning. It's unlearning all the bullshit, unlearning all the conditioning, unlearning all the brainwashing. It's a lot of unlearning.
Yep. And then relearning and being open to everything else that's out there. You know? It's crazy.
It's relearning who you are. Like, who are you? Why do you do the things you do? Why did you choose the career you have?
What actually makes you happy? What makes you happy? Not what do you think other people will, what do you think other people will think you're happy doing?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm just going to do what makes me happy.
Yeah.
You know?
Because most people don't even realize that their habits or their core beliefs stem from parenting. Like, how many, it's funny when you think about this. I thought about this. Why do I fold the towels away? Why do I fold the towels the way I fold them? Because that's the way my mom taught me.
So
right? Why do I do X, Y, and Z?
It's like why the design of the rocket ships that go up into space are limited to the train tracks that they're on.
Right? Is that the only way?
Is because that was the width of the chariots that they used to race on or that they would ride in ancient Rome. And that turned into the distance between the tracks on trains and all that other stuff. Why do we do that? Yeah. We don't even know. It has to do, we've just been doing it this way forever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and you're not allowed to question. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why do we do that? That's how we learn. Mm-hmm. I love that question.
Why?
Yep. Before we get out of here, just let my last thought.
Okay.
When it comes to being a parent, why? Can get annoying. Oh my freaking God. Why?
That's how they
And then the one time that I really thought about that, and it really, like, I got emotional. It broke my heart because I know how curious I am about things and how inquisitive I can be when it comes to all kinds of stuff. And I can't imagine being a kid learning about life and asking your parents, why?
Right.
Why? And then your parents get frustrated because you ask so many fucking questions and get mad and whatever. And I remember I felt so bad when I thought about that. And that's life. Like we were talking about earlier, spanking them and all this other stuff. You learn and we move forward. And I try, and I still have messed up since then. I still have gotten frustrated, but I need the reminder all the time. We all do.
Have you cleaned your mess up?
Yeah. I talked to him and I told him that I was sorry. And I told him that he's allowed to help remind me because it's hard. Like I love him. Right. And it's way easier if he was just genuine with me and like, Dad, I'm just trying to learn.
Right.
And I'd be like, you're right.
But he hasn't learned that art yet.
I love you and I want to teach you. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something that there is great because it's a reminder of something that we have not taught him.
Yeah. And also like communication is like one of the biggest things, man. Just like we were talking about earlier, like him struggling to express what he feels and being like, it's okay. Don't say anything. Try and tell us in a couple minutes. Try again. It's all right. And if you can't, think about it some more.
Also breaking it down to their level. Because a lot of times we feel, they're understanding. No.
And
it's like when we were talking during breakfast.
Exactly.
And I was listening to the conversation.
Right.
And I questioned, I questioned you so that you can break it down a little further. Not questioned you, but helped you to see.
Yeah, just
he may not know what that
explain
means.
It. Right.
Right? Because we have to have the mindset of like a 12-year-old.
Right. Because I'm trying to explain something complicated.
Right.
We're trying to explain the value of something. Just because something costs money or costs a lot of money doesn't mean that it's not valuable. What is the value of something? And things have value to different people. And yeah, like like we were saying, with a 12-year-old, it's hard to articulate that.
Right.
So like with him just being like, it's okay. You can try again. And, you know, having this conversation with him, explaining to him that he doesn't have the vocabulary to express himself. What is actually happening? Your brain is super powerful. You just don't know how to say these things yet. It's okay. You're going to learn. And the way you're going to learn is by practicing, by listening. And we're not going to give you a hard time. It's okay. We'll keep trying until you get it.
Right. Yeah.
But this is all awareness.
And that's
That's it.
why we have such a difficult time in this society, because of the lack of communication, of speaking from a very vulnerable, honest place.
Yeah. There's a lot of conditioning that has to be undone. There's a lot of things that we just think are the way, this is the way it is. This is the way it's always been. No, it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
You know? And with that, make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com, and share it with the people that you know, like I said before. Help us out by shopping through our links and sending us comments and likes and all that kind of stuff. You guys can call us at 480-331-9846.
Yes. Thank you guys for your love. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching Opposites Attract Podcast.
We get better
together. Bye.